I really appreciate Ms. Eiler for allowing me to come in today and share this message with you. I'm really grateful for this experience. And before we begin, let's set up a system in which you can give constant feedback throughout this presentation. Let's do this. Whenever I say holler if you hear me, if at that moment you're understanding and agreeing with what I'm saying, then please yell back at me something like yes, or yeah, or holler, or anything of that nature, a lot of energy and enthusiasm. Let's test this out. Holler if you hear me.
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. Now, I'd like to start this presentation by sharing with you a story. I heard this story told by the speaker, T.D. Jakes, about a little boy out in the Midwest who wanted to see an eagle fly. So he gets a pair of binoculars and goes out to a large open field and he's watching and he's watching. And finally he spots an eagle. And the eagle is flying higher and higher and higher. Then all of a sudden the eagle stops in midair. And it begins to fall and flap and fall and flap and fall and flap. Finally it disappears out of sight. The little boy says to himself, what happened to the eagle? Did someone shoot the eagle? I didn't hear a gun. And the little boy walks for about a mile in order to find where the eagle had landed. And finally he found the eagle. The eagle is laid down, nose in the dirt. The eagle is dead. And the little boy says to himself, what killed the eagle? The little boy turns the eagle over, and there, affixed to the eagle's chest, is a weasel, a little animal. And the weasel has bitten into the heart of the eagle. And the little boy says to himself, now I see what happened to the eagle. The eagle had picked up a weasel and did not let it go. And that's very symbolic to our lives. Because every single day of our lives, we all pick up weasels. And weasels come in many different forms. There are weasels in the form of negative thoughts, weasels in the form of bad habits, weasels in the form of unhealthy addictions, weasels in the form of fears and worries and stress and frustration and anger and insecurities. We all pick up weasels. And if we don't drop the weasels will drop us. Holler, you hear me?
Yeah.
Drop the weasels. Let go of the weasels. Let go of things that are trying to eat at you. Let go of things that are trying to separate you from your source of peace and joy. Let them go. Because either you drop them or they will drop you. And I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. Because in this presentation, I'm going to share with you some tips that we all can use to drop the weasels and fly like an eagle. Now, as you listen to this presentation, whenever you hear a quote that you like, please write it down on your piece of paper labeled notes. That's very important because towards the end of this presentation, we're going to do an activity and each person is going to need to have a list of their favorite quotes written down on their notes piece of paper. Now, I'd like to share with you something very personal. And I used to be very embarrassed about this, but no longer am I embarrassed about it. So I want to share it with you. You see, although I am a professional, right? I graduated from college with a degree in accounting, and I became a CPA, right? A certified public accountant. Although I am a professional, I'm still in the process of overcoming reading challenges. I had severe reading problems when I was growing up. And although things have improved, I'm still in the process of overcoming those reading challenges. Now, I'm not embarrassed to admit it, because I realize that in order to overcome a problem, we must embrace the struggle. Holler if you hear me.
Yeah.
So I embrace my struggles. I realize that it's okay if some people look down on me. It's okay if some people think of me as being a little slow or dumb. It's okay, because I realize now that other people's opinions of me do not have to become my reality. I realize now that my value as a human being always stays the same, regardless of how other people treat me. To really make this point clear, let me share with you this illustration. How much is this worth? $1. But what if I take this dollar bill and crumble it up and throw it on the floor and stomp on it? How much is it worth now? It's still worth $1. Regardless of how I just treated this dollar bill, its value stayed the same. I crumbled it up, I threw it on the floor, I stomped on it, I put dirt on it, but yet its value stayed the same. And the same thing goes with you, me, and all other human beings. Regardless of how other people treat us, regardless of what other people think about us or say about us or do to us, regardless of whatever happens to us in our lives, our value stays the same because our value is something that the world did not give to us, and so therefore it's something that the world cannot take away. Holler if you hear me.
Yeah.
It's amazing how just by changing our perspective, our whole life changes. Even a small shift in your perspective makes a huge change in your life. To really make this point clear, Let's do this group activity. This will blow your mind. Take your right index finger, point it straight up towards the ceiling. It has to be above your head. Now look up at the ceiling and imagine that on this ceiling there's a clock face. Now rotate your finger in a clockwise motion. Go clockwise, clockwise motion, clockwise motion. Now continue that same motion, but now bring your arm all the way down, all the way down, all the way down, so it's below your chin. So you're looking down at your finger. And realize now, you're no longer going clockwise. You're now going counterclockwise, aren't you? Isn't that cool? Let's try it again. Clockwise motion. And bring your arm all the way down, all the way down. And realize now you're going counterclockwise. So somebody tell me, our finger did not change, and the motion of our finger did not change. What was the only thing that changed? Our perspective. And whenever we change our perspective, our whole life changes. So here's the message. Here's the lesson. Here's the point. Whenever you are feeling depressed about anything, always ask yourself, what else can this mean? What else can this mean? What's another way in which I can look at this situation? What's another perspective that in which I can view this circumstance? What else can this mean? I guarantee you, asking yourself that question is a very useful tool that can help us to rise above depression whenever we're feeling depressed. It's a very useful tool that can help us to manage our emotions well. Whenever you are feeling depressed about anything, always ask yourself, what else can this mean? Is this the end or is this the beginning? It's all a matter of perspective. Am I being punished or am I being rewarded? It's all a matter of perspective. Is this a problem or is this a personal development exercise that is designed to prepare me to achieve my purpose and my destiny in life? It's all a matter of perspective. Holler if you hear me.
Yeah.
Yes, problems are just personal development exercises that are designed to prepare us to achieve our purpose and our destiny in life. You know, as I think back over my childhood, I realized that I'm grateful for my bullies because my bullies strengthened me. The emotional abuse that they put me through, it tore me down for a moment, but over time it built me up like gold, purified through fire. Holler, you hear me?
Yeah.
To really make this point clear, let me share with you this story. It's a story about a water carrier who had two large pots. Each hung on the ends of a pole which he carried across his neck. One of the pots had a crack in it, while the other pot was perfect. Each day at the end of the long walk from the water stream back to the house, the perfect pot always delivered a full portion of water. But the broken pot always delivered only half a pot of water, because the other half of its water would always leak out through the crack that was in its side, all the way back to the house. This continued on for years. And of course, the perfect pot felt proud of itself. It felt like a high achiever. It felt successful, had very high self-esteem. It felt good about itself. But the broken pot felt ashamed of itself and felt miserable. And one day by the water stream, the broken pot spoke out to the water carrier and said, I'm ashamed of myself because this crack in my side, it causes water to leak out all the way back to your house. I'm no good. I'm inferior. I've been broken. I've been broken by some things that have happened to me in the past. You see, I've been through some bad experiences that have hurt me so much, and now I have all these insecurities, I have all of these issues that are holding me down and holding me back, and I'll never be able to succeed. I'm sick, and I'll never be made well. So you should just destroy me because my life has no meaning and no purpose. And then the water carrier responded to the broken pot and said, did you notice that there were flowers only along your side of the path and not along the other pot's side? That is because I've always known about your flaw. And I planted flower seeds all along your side of the path. And each day as we walk back from the water stream, the water that leaks out through the crack in your side waters these flowers. And for years now, I've been able to pick these beautiful flowers to make the world a more beautiful place. Without you being just the way you are, there would not be this beauty to grace the world. I love that story because it's a reminder to me that even the cracks in my life are there for a reason. Even the cracks in my life, even the flaws and the imperfections and the challenges and the struggles and the obstacles and the weaknesses and everything happens for a reason. Although often we don't understand what that reason is as we're going through the process. But one day we will be able to look back and clearly understand that it was all part of a beautiful plan. One day we will be able to look back and see the bigger picture. And there's always a bigger picture. There's always a bigger picture. Everything that goes on in your life, it's all part of a bigger picture. But one of the most challenging things about life is that often you can't see the picture because you're standing in the frame. Holler if you hear me.
Yeah.
Often in life, you can't see the picture because you're standing in the frame. But one day we will be able to look back and clearly see the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is a beautiful picture. You know, to really make this point clear, let me share with you another story. This is a true story. There was a lady running late for work one morning, all because of her daughter taking too long to get ready for school. And I can imagine she was feeling very angry and frustrated at her daughter for making her late for work. Imagine she was feeling very disappointed that she was going to have to arrive at work late this morning, all because of her daughter taking too long to get ready for school. But when she arrived at work that morning, she realized that on this particular morning, it was a very good thing that she arrived late to work. Because this morning was Tuesday morning, September the 11th, 2001, and this lady worked in the World Trade Center. If it had not been for her daughter, who made her late for work, she would have been in the building when the planes hit. It's amazing how really our problems are really blessings in disguise. Holler if you hear me.
Yeah.
So let's not complain about anything, because really our problems can bless our lives in ways that we don't even understand. Now let me share with you a very personal story that really illustrates this message. When I was in high school, for a while during my high school years, I became very depressed. And the reason why I became so depressed was because there was this girl who I liked who did not like me back. And it really broke my heart, because I felt as though she was my soulmate. I felt like we were made for each other. And so when in fact, every time I'd see her in the hallways, I would feel a little hypnotized. You know that feeling you get when you see someone that you have a crush on? It's like that high feeling, you know what I'm talking about? That high feeling? That's what I felt. Every time I'd see her, I felt that high feeling. And that high feeling was so intense, the attraction was so strong, that I thought it was a sign that this was true love. Because I was so very attracted to her. And so when she rejected me, I felt as though my heart split in half. And I became very depressed. But an interesting thing happened. As time went by and as I grew older and more mature, I began to look back over that experience, and I began to see something that I never saw previously. You see, it wasn't until later on in my life, as I was looking back over my teenage years, that I began to realize that when I was a teenager, I was very immature. And if I would have gotten into a relationship with that girl at that time, because of my immaturity, I would have ended up making some bad decisions. I would have ended up making some bad choices. I would have ended up giving in to certain temptations, because you see, she was involved with some very unhealthy things, like alcohol and weed. And I overlooked it though at the time because I was so very physically attracted to her. It's interesting how physical attraction clouds judgment. Holler if you hear me. Right? Physical attraction clouds it. She was involved with some very unhealthy things, but I was so very sexually attracted to her that I overlooked the fact that she would have had a very negative impact on me, because I was so very attracted to her. It's amazing how whenever you become very physically attracted to someone, your judgment gets cloudy. It's amazing. Your judgment gets very cloudy because the emotions are so strong. So we have to be very careful. Be very, very careful. Be careful what you wish for. Because often in life, the things that look good to us are not good for us. Holler if you hear me.
Yeah.
Often in life, the things that look good to us are not good for us. Things are not always what they seem to be. Very often in life, even poison is wrapped in beautiful wrapping paper. Holler if you hear me.
Yeah.
Very often in life, even poison is wrapped in beautiful wrapping paper. So do not follow your heart, lead your heart. Do not follow your heart, lead your heart. What I mean by that is, do not blindly follow your heart. Of course you want to follow your dream, your purpose, your calling, right? You want to follow your dreams in life, but do not blindly follow your heart, because at times your heart will try to deceive you. There are times in which your heart will try to lead you down the wrong path. In other words, what I'm saying is this: do not live your life based on your emotions. Live your life based on your principles, wise principles. Because have you noticed that your emotions are not reliable? Your emotions are not steady. Have you noticed that? In fact, in many situations, your emotions can get you into a lot of trouble. Holler if you hear me.
Yeah.
So do not live your life based on your emotions. Live your life based on your principles. Have you noticed people who live their life based on their emotions, they're always into some type of drama. Your life will be very frustrating if you live your life based on your emotions, because your emotions are not reliable. So do not follow your heart, lead your heart. Do not live your life based on your emotions, live your life based on your principles. You see, over the years, I've come to realize that just because you become very physically attracted to someone doesn't necessarily mean that they are a good fit for you. Holler if you hear me.
Yeah.
Right? Also, a relationship that is based solely on physical attraction and romantic feelings will last only as long as the feelings last. There has to be a deeper connection. So please always remember, do not live your life based on your emotions. Live your life based on your principles, wise principles. Now, changing the subject a little bit. When I was growing up, I tried to play various sports. Basketball, football, track. And I was terrible at all of them. And although many of the spectators would look down on me and or feel sorry for me, I never felt embarrassed or ashamed. Because among all the spectators, there was one spectator, my dad, who was always in the stands watching and sincerely happy to see that I was doing my best. You see, over and over and over again, Dad taught me the concept that as long as you have done your best, then you have won. So despite the lack of sincere encouragement from team members and other spectators, I remained encouraged and inspired and motivated, enthusiastic about getting on the playing field and doing my best. You see, Dad instilled within me an unshakable courage to try. And that courage to try has helped me to go much further than I ever thought I could go. I was labeled a slow learner when I was in school, but yet I kept studying and I became a professional. I was picked on by bullies, but I kept feeding my faith, and over time, those experiences started to build me up rather than to tear me down. I was considered to be ugly when I was a teenager because of all the pimples I had. When I was a teenager, I had a severe case of acne. Acne all over my face as well as my back. And I was considered to be ugly. But I kept admiring my inner beauty. I kept appreciating my inner beauty. And over time, I began to realize that it really doesn't matter what other people call you. What really matters is what you call yourself. What other people think about you is not important. But what you think about yourself means everything. Because think about this. Technically, other people's words can never harm you. Technically. Technically, other people's words can never harm you. But it's your own words that can kill you. Holler if you hear me. Yeah. Other people's words can never ever harm you, but it's your own words that can kill you. So really, it's your own words, your own thoughts that you have to really guard and protect. It's your own words, your own thoughts that you have to really monitor and be very careful about. Because other people's words, other people's thoughts can never harm you, but it's your own words, your own thoughts that can kill you. You know, there's an old saying that goes, if there is no enemy on the inside, then the enemies on the outside cannot harm you. If there is no enemy on the inside, then the enemies on the outside cannot harm you. So therefore, as long as we maintain positive, healthy emotions on the inside, then the negativity that surrounds us cannot touch us. So I know that Dad's legacy will always be in my heart. And wherever I go, wherever I am, I know that Dad is always in the stands. Dad's legacy is very similar to a quote by Theodore Roosevelt. Theodore Roosevelt once said, "It is not the critic who counts, nor the man who points out how the strong man stumbled, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes short again and again, who knows the great enthusiasms, great devotions, and spends himself in a worthy cause. Who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst at least fails while daring greatly, so that he shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. I love that quote, because it's a reminder to me that my victory has already been won. I'm already successful. I became successful the moment that I decided to get into the arena and do my best. As Rocky Balboa said in the movie Rocky, I just want to go the distance. And if you remember, in Rocky Part 1, Rocky did not win, but he went the distance. And he proved that real success is not about winning. Real success is about having the courage to try. Having the courage to get into the arena. Having the courage to step outside of your comfort zone. Having the courage to get on the playing field. You see, the walls of your comfort zone, they make you feel safe, but really those same walls are separating you from your dream. In order to achieve your dream in life, you must have the courage to step outside of your comfort zone. Never be afraid of failure. Never be afraid of failure. Because really, failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of the pathway to success. Holler if you hear me.
Yeah.
Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of the pathway to success. Have you noticed the people who achieve the most in life are not necessarily those who are the most gifted and talented, but rather the people who achieve the most in life are those who are not afraid to try. They're not afraid to mess up. They're not afraid to look silly. They're not afraid to step outside of their comfort zone. They are the ones who achieve the most in life. Because really, your greatest dreams are on the other side of fear. Holler if you hear me.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what's on the scoreboard. It doesn't matter how other people evaluate us. What really matters is that we always have the courage to try. To really make this point clear, let me share with you this song. Check out this song. Check out this song. Michael Jordan once said, I failed over and over and over again, and that is why I have succeeded. I love that quote because I realized what I learned in my valleys helps me get to my mountaintops. In fact, I wouldn't be at this mountaintop if I didn't have my valleys. I wasn't popular at all when I was in school. It was hard walking down the hall, felt like a fool. Kids can be so cruel when somebody's different. The guys call me names and the girls stay distant. I had a little stutter and I didn't learn fast. Butterflies in my stomach every day in class. I felt bad because I had love inside, but nobody took the time to ever know I was a nice guy. All the names calling tore me down. I didn't know then it would mold me now. What doesn't kill you, builds you, pound for pound. My endurance allows me to go round for round. Now I'm a heavyweight now. See the passion in my eyes when you overcome pain? It's no surprise. Grateful for the bullies in my life. You know why? While they try to break me down, I was learning to survive. When I was young, I was horrible at sports, and the guys on my team thought that I was a dork. I admit I wasn't good, but I tried my best. That's all that really matters, so I didn't stress. Because my dad was in the bleachers cheering me on, so no bullying this world could ever do me harm. Even when the spectators were haters, I stayed strong. Had a real bond that helped me go on. When I messed up, I confess, I respect that. Everybody's going to make mistakes, so expect that. It's all about learning from the trips and the stumbles. Never get discouraged, always stay humble. The only real losers never enter the arena. Criticize how you play, but in the game you never see them. I just want to do my best. In my dad's eyes, won the race because I know how to survive. Now I have a question for you. Question for you. How many of you saw me fall down? You saw me fall. You saw me fall. saw me fall down. You saw me fall. You saw me fall down. But also you saw how I immediately got back up again and continued dancing. And that there is a very powerful illustration of a very profound life principle. In life, we all fall down from time to time. Because no one is perfect, right? Because as human beings, we each have our own unique set of flaws and imperfections and weaknesses. And have you noticed? Some people's flaws are more visible than other people's flaws. Some people have flaws that are very visible. Other people have flaws that are very well hidden. But every single person has their own unique set of flaws, imperfections, and weaknesses. And so therefore, every single person from time to time, in one way or another, we all fall down. But only the winners keep getting back up again. Holler if you hear me.
Yeah.
Only the winners realize that we can always start over again, no matter what has happened in the past. Now, of course, we do have to face the consequences of our behavior. And our behavior always has consequences. But it's never too late to start over again. It's never too late to press the reset button. Did you know that in life, there is a reset button? Unfortunately, there is no rewind button, and there is no redo button. But in life, there is a reset button. And it's never too late to press the reset button. It's never too late to start over again. No matter how far you've gone wrong, it's never too late to press the reset button and start completely over again. You see, the winners are those that realize that the past does not equal the future. Our biography does not have to become our destiny. And so therefore, we do not have to live in the past. In fact, it's very unhealthy to live in the past. Because if you live in the past, you die in the present. Holler if you hear me.
Yeah.
If you live in the past, you die in the present. If you're holding on to the baggage of the past, you'll never be able to fully embrace the present moment. We must let go of the baggage of the past, but always hold on to the lessons that we've learned from the past. That's a very key point. Because good judgment comes from experience. And experience often comes from bad judgment. So as long as you always learn from your mistakes, then even your mistakes will become part of the process of your ultimate success. Holler if you hear me.
Yeah.
I get so excited, because this material is so real. Let go of the baggage of the past, hold on to the lesson that you learned, and move forward, move forward. And every time you fall, pick up only the lesson and move forward. This is so very important, because in life, all of us have to become one of three things: a potato, an egg, or a coffee bean. If you place a potato in the hot boiling water, the hot water will change the potato into becoming soft, right? If you place an egg in the hot boiling water, the hot water will change the inside of the egg and becoming hard, right? But if you place a coffee bean into hot boiling water, the hot water will not change the coffee bean, but rather the coffee bean will change the hot water. So likewise, as we go through hot water in our lives, meaning as we go through problems and struggles and challenges and obstacles and disappointments and frustration and anxiety and fear and worry and stress and frustration, as we go through hot water in our lives, we don't have to allow the hot water to change us into something hard and angry, nor soft and weak, but rather we can change the hot water into opportunities to learn and grow stronger. Because really every struggle, every challenge, every form of hot water is really an opportunity to learn and grow stronger. Because really, remember, our problems are just personal development exercises that are designed to prepare us to achieve our purpose and our destiny in life. Our problems are really blessings in disguise. You know, if I had to summarize this whole program into one sentence, it would be this: turn your problems into power. Holler if you hear me.
Yeah.
Right? Turn your problems into power by controlling the perspectives in which you choose to view the situations of your life. We can turn the problems into power. You know, one thing I've noticed is that there is a commonality among everyone who has become very successful in life. And that commonality is that they have found a way to use their adversity as their advantage. If you've noticed that, anyone who's become very high achieving, successful, very fulfilled, whatever. They've all been able to use their adversity as their advantage. Let me give you a few examples, a couple examples. Check this out, check this out. You all know this person, but you might not be familiar with her story. At the age of 17, she was rejected from college. At the age of 25, her mother died from a disease. Age 26, she suffered a miscarriage, right? The baby died inside of her, right? She suffered a miscarriage. Age 27, she got married, but unfortunately, her husband abused her. Despite the abuse, her daughter was born. Age 28, she got divorced and was diagnosed with severe depression. Age 29, she was a single mother on welfare. Age 30, she wanted to end her life. But instead, she decided to turn that adversity and use it as her advantage. She found a way to take all that negative energy and direct it into a positive activity. For her passion was writing. And so, age 31, she published her first book. Age 35, she had released 4 books and became author of the year. Age 42, she sold 11 million copies of her new book on the first day of its release. Her name? J.K. Rowling, yes. The author of the Harry Potter series, right? Which is like a huge brand, right? How many of you have ever read any of the Harry Potter books? Yeah? Wow, look at it. It's amazing how popular that brand became, right? Very, very popular. But just think, she, at one point, was about to end her life. But she decided to turn the problems into power by changing her perspective, right? By changing her perspective, by redirecting her energy, she was able to use her adversity as her advantage. She turned the problems into her blessings. Another person, one more example of this. And I'm going to give you the full picture. A teenage girl became pregnant by her boyfriend, but she couldn't afford to take care of the baby. So the baby was sent to live with the grandmother. But after several years, the grandmother became sick and was no longer able to care for this little girl. So the little girl gets moved around to different family members, different environments. And unfortunately, some of the environments were very negative, violent, and abusive. And this little girl became the victim of sexual abuse. She was raped multiple times as a little girl. And then at the age of 14, she became pregnant. But her baby died after only a few weeks after being born. In the midst of all that drama, a mentor reached out to this teenage girl and inspired her to realize that education was going to be her ticket out of all this negativity. And she became motivated. She started to study hard in school. She did well in school. She got a scholarship to go to college. She went to college. She did well in college and graduated and started her career as a journalist, right? A career in broadcasting. And then later she started a media company. And then later she became the most successful TV talk show host. And in the process, she became a billionaire. Her name?
Oprah.
Oprah, yes. So you see, you look at people like J.K. Rowling, you look at people like Oprah, and you look at so many other people, right? One of the common things among all these people is that they learn how to take their adversity and use it as their advantage by controlling their perspective. And so as you think about the adversity that's in your life, because we all have some level of adversity, right? Although it's different degrees, right? Some people are struggling with issues that are much more severe than others, but we all are struggling with some type of issue, some type of adversity in our life. And I want to encourage you to look at it, view your adversity as your advantage. View it as a blessing in disguise. Because by viewing it with a positive attitude, it puts you in a position to be able to notice ways in which you can use the adversity as your advantage. Now, of course, these things are easier said than done. And that is why my next point is the most important point of all. Please always remember this. Always stay connected to the source of strength. Always stay connected to the source of strength. Now listen, I'm not here trying to tell you what to believe spiritually, but I am here trying to tell you this. Always stay connected to the source of strength. Always take time to do things that will strengthen your values and your faith and your beliefs. because connected to the source of strength, you will have the power to drop the weasels and fly like an eagle. Holler, you hear me?
Yeah.
And you know, another thing that I learned recently, really cool thing, is the 3 R's of eliminating negativity from your life. The 3 R's. Please write this down. 3 R's. R number 1 is to recognize. Recognize. To recognize when there's a negative thought. And one way to recognize that there's a negative thought in your mind is that by your emotions, right? Because our thoughts dictate our feelings. So whenever you're feeling depressed about anything, that's a sign that there's some type of negative thought that's into your mind. So recognize that there's negative thoughts. Number 2, the second R is refuse. Refuse to focus on the negative thoughts. Because remember, where focus goes, energy flows. Whatever you focus on grows and expands in your life. So refuse to focus on it. Now look, we do not always have the power to control what thoughts come into our minds, right? But we do have the power to control which thoughts we will focus on. So refuse to focus on the negative thought. And then the third R is replace. Replace the negative thought with a positive thought. And here's how we replace it, by focusing on the positive thoughts. Because where focus goes, energy flows. And so by focusing on the positive thoughts will replace the negative thoughts. And by doing stuff like this, it puts us in a position so that we can drop the weasels and fly.